Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Rav.
How are you? How are you
Hashem.
doing, Jeffrey?
Baruch Hashem. Oh, good. Thank you.
Is the grandfather happy?
The great-grandfather is as well.
Great-grandfather. Sorry, the great-grandfather. Apology.
Baruch Hashem.
Oh, Mark with us. Marky, Erev Tov. How are you?
Always. As
How are you
usual.
feeling?
Good.
Are you
Thank
well?
you. Baruch Hashem. Are you
As long
well,
as
Rav?
We all well. We're all well. Who's with us?
Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem. I see Lionel with us. I see Frank with us. Stephen with us. Who else with us? Jeff with us. Hilton with us. I see. Okay, good. We'll wait another few more minutes and then we'll allow other people to join us and we'll go from there. There's a few more people connecting and then we'll go. I just would like Rabbi to take the opportunity. I don't know, not everyone is still online to wish our friend Jeffrey a hearty Mazel Tov, because today was the bris of his grandson. And Jeffrey, I would like to take the opportunity and bless you that may please God that you should celebrate the wedding of your grandson. Be'ezrat Hashem, to dance happy, not only happy and healthy. You and your missus, please God, that you're always going to enjoy smahot. Please God, amen. Ken yehi ratzon. I just muted everyone, Jeffrey, because it was a bit noisy at the back. So I just muted everyone, but just to let you know.
Mazel Tov to Jeff.
Okay, so I see that we already 2 minutes after. So we're going to speak today about Parashat Vayeshev. Parashat Vayeshev is come always the parsha before Hanukkah. And we're going to start with the parsha. So Be'ezrat Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach, ve'Hashem alenu berachamav yarviach. I would like to dedicate the show in a soul of Esther Kadan Bat Ketzia, Mordechai ben Rahma, Harav Avraham Haim ben Eliezer Yaakov, Tamar bat Zehava, Shulamit bat Avraham Eliezer Yaakov, Salomon ben Farha, Dvorah Ruth bat Beila, Shosha Blima bat Mordechai Betzalel, Malka Regina bat Joya, Keti Gurgia bat Farha, Nishmatam tiyeh tzrura betzur haim. I would like also to dedicate the shiur in help of Liora bat Miriam, Menashe Naji ben Farha, Harav Avraham ben Marim, Harav Shlomo Yehuda ben Dalia, Harav Moshe ben Devora, Devora bat Esther, Orna Bluma bat Miriam, Sheina Keila bat Hana, Mordechai David ben Leah, Aryeh Lev Gershon ben Shimon HaKohen, Shmuel Meir ben Shosha Blima, Miriam bat Zelda Liba, Moshe Abraham ben Hena Riva, Haya Tzipora bat Rachel, Ayala Eden bat Rivka, Tova Liba bat Rachel. Be'ezrat Hashem, refuah shlema to them ולכל עולי עמו ישראל בכל מקום שהם. Okay, Parashat Vayeshev, and we are starting. Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz megurei aviv, be'eretz Canaan. Bechavod, Jeffrey.
Jacob settled in the land of his father's sojournings in the land of Canaan.
Okay, here we see something very, very interesting. The Torah tells us that Yaakov Avinu, after 22 years that he was in exile, he coming back to where? To Eretz Canaan. And he settled down, he sojourned in the same land of his father, Yitzhak. And many of the Mefarshim ask, wait, I don't understand what's happening here. Why does the Torah have to tell us that Yaakov settled down in a place where his father was, in the land of Canaan? And the question was, wait, don't we know that Yitzhak Avinu was in Eretz Canaan? What is the Hidush here? What is the Torah try to teach us here? So if you look at Rashi HaKadosh say, by the way, Rashi is Rabbi Shlomo Yitzhaki, born in the city of Troyes in the north of France, 982 years ago. And he says that it's come to tell us, listen what he said, ביקש יעקב לשב בשלווה, קפץ עליו רוגזו של יוסף. That means, on a pshat of the dvarim, Yaakov Avinu, all of his life have choros. He never have a moment. For 130 years of his life, from the 147, Yaakov Avinu didn't have 1 minute peace, except the last 17 years of his life. So say Rashi HaKadosh that Yaakov Avinu, when he came to settle in the land of Eretz Canaan, he wanted to sit in peace, to have peace and harmony and tranquility. He didn't want any more chores. Immediately come another chorus. And the worst chorus that he ever had, it's Yosef HaTzadik. That Yosef HaTzadik been sold as a slave to Egypt. That means Yaakov Avinu didn't know that because he didn't have Ruach HaKodesh. What happened? Listen to that. Yeah, we know that Yaakov thought that he died, or Yaakov, some opinions say that he didn't think that he died. But vice versa, Yosef HaTzadik disappeared from him for 22 years. And that was the most difficult chorus that Yaakov Avinu had. Come the Mefarshim and say, Yaakov Avinu, all of his life have chorus until the age 130. When he born, he have a chorus with his brother Esau. He didn't finish with Esau, he have to flee, and he gone to Lavan. Lavan changed his wife. Lavan caused him a lot of havoc. He finished with Lavan, you have the chorus of Dinah. If that wasn't enough, come now the top, okay, the cherry on the top, Yosef HaTzadik. Okay, until here, that's the introduction, what's happened with Yaakov Avinu. So we have to understand what it means, Bikesh Yaakov Lishev B'Shalva. Yaakov wanted to sit in peace and harmony after the story of Dinah. Came the chorus of Yosef. Okay, and we have to understand what is the connection between that to what the question that we ask. He wanted to sit in peace and harmony, Rashi HaKadosh said. We ask, what is the connection between Eretz Megurei Aviv, the land of his father, where his father settled, to the land of Canaan? So, Rabotai, to understand that, I need to bring a few things. It's to come to teach us something important. That's number one, that we have to understand that the answer is in the world. In the word that we sang, that we read, it said, Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz megurei aviv. Yaakov Avinu settled in the same place of his father. The answer is there. Be'eretz Canaan. Said the Maharhu. Who was the Maharhu? The Maharhu was Rabbi Chaim Vital. Rabbi Chaim Vital says something extraordinary. But you know what? Before I start maybe with Rabbi Chaim Vital, I'm going to bring what the Baal HaTurim, Rabbi Yaakov Baal HaTurim said. Rabbi Yaakov Baal HaTurim said, Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz megurei aviv, בגמטריה, the gematria עובד, שב לקיים מצוות כיבוד אב. That's it. What it means, שב לעשות כיבוד אב, you return to do the mitzvah of כיבוד הורים, to honor your parents, to honor your father. What's the connection? Listen to that, how we're going to link it together, Be'ezrat Hashem, with the help of the Maharhu. The Maharhu was Rabbi Chaim Vital. Rabbi Chaim Vital, born in the city of Tzfat. He born around 479 years ago. And in his commentary on the Torah, he explained it like this. He said that the main reason that the Torah tells us that the repeating, and a matter of fact, if you look, the Torah repeated, Eretz Canaan, Eretz Megurei Aviv, to teach us something very important. To tell us that Yaakov Avinu was worried, of two mitzvot that he didn't fulfill properly. And what was those mitzvot? When Yaakov Avinu was in exile for 22 years, he didn't have a chance to fulfill the mitzvah of Kibud Avahem, and he didn't have a mitzvah. The second mitzvah is to settle on the land of Eretz Israel, to live in Eretz Israel. And the Rambam teaches us that the person that walk on Eretz Israel Arba'a Amot, walk 2 meters, a little bit less than 2 meters, fulfill it's a mitzvah. Yaakov Avinu was worried, okay, that he didn't have these 2 mitzvot, and he wanted to settle on the land. He wanted to settle in the land of Eretz Israel to fill up this mitzvot. He wanted to fill up now the second mitzvah of Kibud Avahem that he couldn't fulfill while he was in exile in the house of Lavan. What happened? Immediately come the chorus of Yosef Batzadik. So what it's come to teach us that Yaakov Avinu was worried about 2 mitzvot that he couldn't fulfill for 22 years. And he said that now I'm going to sit and land in the Eretz of Israel to try to land, to fulfill the mitzvah of Kibud Avahem and to settle in the land of Eretz Israel. That's why the Torah repeat and tell us that, to teach us that Yaakov Avinu was worried that he doesn't have these 2 mitzvot, that he didn't fulfill them properly. So we learn from here something extraordinary, that here we see that Yaakov Avinu was worried that he didn't fulfill 2 mitzvot properly. And that's why the Torah repeat and tell us, Be'eretz Megorei Aviv, Be'eretz Canaan. That means Eretz Megorei Aviv, to tell us that he didn't honor and respect Yitzhak Avinu alav shalom. Be'eretz Canaan, that he didn't settle and live in Eretz Israel. That's the 2 mitzvot that he was worried. Now we can understand why the Torah repeated to tell us that Yaakov Avinu settled in the place of his father, where? In Eretz Canaan. Okay. Let's go to verse 2. And in verse 2 it says like this, Ele toldot Yaakov Yosef. בן 17 שנה היה רואה את אחיו בצאן, והוא נער את בני בלהה ואת בני זלפה, נשי אביו. ויבא יוסף את דיבתם רעה אל אביהם. בכבוד.
These are the chronicles of Jacob. Joseph, at the age of 17 years, was a shepherd with his brothers by the flock. But he was a youth with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph would bring evil reports about them to their father.
Okay. Jeffrey, we hardly heard you. We hardly hear your reading. You was far away maybe from the microphone or something.
Sorry, shall I repeat that?
Yeah, please.
Repeat that. These are the chronicles of Jacob. Joseph, at the age of 17 years, was a shepherd with his brothers by the flock. But he was a youth with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph would bring evil reports about them to their father.
Okay. Here we learn that the Torah tells us, Ele toldot Yaakov Yosef. This is the offspring of Yaakov, is Yosef. Immediately, the Mefarshim ask, what's happening here? We see that he tells us the offspring of Yaakov is Yosef. What about the other tribes? What about the other children that Yaakov Avinu had? Where are they? Where's the chronicle of Yaakov Avinu? Why doesn't mention it? So the Zohar HaKadosh on our verse explained like this. You know why is it mentioned only Yosef HaTzadik? Because Yosef HaTzadik, okay, was the image, the split image of Yaakov Avinu. They was looking identical. There was the split image. If you wanted to know how Yaakov Avinu was looking in the age of 17, look at Yosef HaTzadik. There was a split image. But what the Zohar HaKadosh say, we have to go in depth to it. What it mean, look, the split image? You know, the Zohar usually speak, but you have to understand the depths of it. So to understand that, I saw a beautiful commentary that brought also in Midrash, Bereshit Rabbah. In Bereshit Rabbah, on our Parsha, in chapter 84, verse 6. Okay, verse 6. Okay. Piska Vav, okay. There Hazal says something extraordinary. Hazal telling us, whatever happened with Yaakov Avinu, happened with Yosef HaTzadik. I'm going to bring nine examples, but there's many more. So just because the time is short, I don't want to extend on it. For example, Yaakov Avinu, when he born circumcised. Yosef HaTzadik, when he born circumcised. We know that Yaakov Avinu had the dream of the stepladder. Yosef HaTzadik had the dream that we read about, that we're going to read about it in the Parashat. What's happened with Yaakov Avinu? Yaakov Avinu has to go to Egypt, to exile. He gone to Egypt for 17 years. Yosef HaTzadik also gone to Egypt. Yaakov Avinu married a wife, okay, outside the land of Eretz Israel. Also, Yosef HaTzadik married a woman not in Eretz Israel, in the diaspora. What happened else? Yaakov Avinu passed away in Egypt. Yosef HaTzadik passed away in Egypt. Yaakov Avinu been buried in Eretz Israel. Where? In Hebron, in Ma'arat HaMachpelah. Yosef HaTzadik been buried in Shechem, in Eretz Israel, in Nablus. Yaakov Avinu, after he died, he'd been embalmed by the Egyptian. Yosef HaTzadik, when he died, he'd been embalmed by the Egyptian. We know that Yaakov Avinu become rich. That means he was first poor when he given all the money to Eliphaz, and then he become rich. Yosef HaTzadik, when he sold, he was poor. Later on, he become very rich. Very similar thing between Yaakov Avinu and Yosef. And that's what it said. Those are the offspring of Yaakov, Yosef. But we have to understand what it means clinical, you know, in depth. The Mefarshim explain, when I said the Mefarshim, it's Morenu Rabbi Yitzhak Luria Ashkenazi, Datzari HaKadosh. He born in Jerusalem 488 years ago. And he said like this, you have to understand why what's happened to Yosef, what's happened to Yaakov happened to Yosef. Why Yosef was the split image of Yaakov Avinu. Listen to that answer, amazing. He said Yosef HaTzadik was a reincarnation of Adam HaRishon. Yosef HaTzadik was a reincarnation of Adam HaRishon. So that's whatever happened with Yaakov Avinu happened with who? With Yosef. Yaakov Avinu looked like Adam HaRishon. Yosef, that looked like Yaakov, looked like Adam HaRishon. And now we can understand the verse. Ele toldot Yaakov Yosef. Those are the clinical or the offspring of Yaakov, that Yosef. Why Dafka Yosef and none of the other tribe? Because Yaakov Avinu was a reincarnation of Adam HaRishon. Yosef HaTzadik was a reincarnation of Adam HaRishon. And they're all from the split neshama, the same spark of the neshama. Exactly. Whatever happened with the one, happened with the other one. Whatever happened with the father, happened with the son. Now we can understand the verse. Let's move on. Chapter 38, verse 1. And listen to that. Here the Torah now changing completely the story moving away from the story of Yosef, moving to the story of Yehuda. And we have to understand why in the middle of all of it, there is a change. Let's read it, Be'ezrat Hashem. Vayehi ba'et hahi, vayered Yehuda me'et Echav, vayet ad ish adulami ushmo Hira.
It was at that time that Yehuda went down from his brothers and turned away toward an Adulamite man whose name was Hira.
Okay, here we see a very interesting story, and we have to understand what's happening. Why is the Torah suddenly moved away from the story of Yosef HaTzadik and focusing on Yehuda? What's happened with Yehuda? After Yosef HaTzadik been sold, okay, to the Ishmaelites, and then to the Midianites, and then he arrived in Egypt, the Torah tells us that the brother got so cross when they saw the pain and the agony that they caused their father, listen to that, they decide that they're going to take the royalty from Yehuda, the brother Yehuda. Why? Because Yehuda was the king. He was in charge about all the brothers. And the Torah tells us, Vayehi ba'et hahi, and that time, Vayered Yehuda. That means he lost his, what we call it, the kingdom, the kingship, or the royalty. I don't know how you want to put it.
Malchus, yeah.
Sorry?
His Malchus.
His Malchut, yeah. He lost his kingdom, his royalty. Why? Hazal explained something extraordinary. Listen to that. Yehuda was the one that given the idea to sell Yosef HaTzadik. And the brother listened to them. When they sold Yosef HaTzadik, okay, we know that later on how much pain and agony cost Yaakov. I mean, when they saw that, they realized that if Yehuda would tell them not to sell them, they would listen to him. But Yehuda sold them. He sold them as a slave. What happened? Hazal say, for that, the Torah come and tell us how Yehuda been punished. First of all, he lost his kingdom, his Malchut, his royalty. Number two, his wife died. His wife died. The commentary that I'm bringing, by the way, it's from Sefer Hasidim. Sefer Hasidim been written by Rabbi Yehuda Hasid. And he explained like this. Yehuda, number one, lost his royalty, his kingship. Number two, he lost his wife, Hoshea. Okay. Number two, he lost his both sons. Both of his sons died. And then come the story of Tamar, the granddaughter, the daughter-in-law. And what's happened? The Torah tells us that they have, Tamar and Yehuda have a relationship. And Yehuda, when he gone down, okay, where from his place, he gone to a place that where Ish Adulami, okay, that the Torah tell us that it was, what is it called? Hira, where Hira was, okay. There he saw his daughter-in-law, but she covered her face, he didn't even know her, and he had a physical relationship with her. After 3 months, people come to Yehuda and tell him, listen, your daughter-in-law is pregnant. And they brought him to her for a judgment. And what's happened to her? About her? What happened to her? We know that when she was with Yehuda, she took deposit from him. That we know. And then when she took the deposit, okay, she given it to him when they brought her, and then we'll learn about it right now. The next move, we'll see what's the idea behind it. But we have to understand why Yehuda been punished so harshly. That number one, he lost his kingdom. Number two, he lost his wife. Number three, he lost both of his sons, Er ve'Onan. Why? Why being punished so harshly? Says Sefer Hasidim something extraordinary. Listen to that. Sefer Hasidim says, Yosef HaTzadik was supposed to get married in the age of 18. But because Yehuda given the idea to sell Yosef HaTzadik to whom? To the slave, as a slave, he arrived in Egypt, okay? We learn something extraordinary. Because Yosef HaTzadik married in the age of 30 instead of the age of 18, לא עלינו ולא על אף אחד מישראל, Yehuda been punished. Why? Because he delayed the marriage of his brother. Look how harshly he'd been married. He'd been punished. Say Rabbi Yehuda Hasid, from here you're learning something extraordinary. That when you see people getting on and the relationship is okay, don't separate between them. Don't try to separate between a husband and a wife. Because when you try to separate, the punishment is so harshly. When Yehuda separated Yosef from his shidduch, instead of age of 18 to the age of 30 until he married Osnat, that means the daughter of Potiphera, look what harsh punishment it's now. Say Rabbi Yehuda Hasid, from here we have to learn a message. There's a message to us. Lo le'afrid ben bnei zug. That means don't separate between a couple. What is the punishment? Let's move on. In verse 26, now I'm skipping. And verse 26, the Torah tells us like this. ויקר יהודה, ויאמר צדקה ממני, כי על כן לא נתתיה לשלה בני, ולא יסף עוד לדעתה.
Judah recognized, and he said, she is right. It is from me, inasmuch as I did not give her to Shelach my son, and he was not intimate with her anymore.
Okay, here the Torah come to teach us a message. What it means, and Yehuda says she's right. What did the Torah tell us that she's right? We know that she's right. What is the idea behind it? Hazal explained something extraordinary, and it's brought in a Talmud Yerushalmi in Masechet Pe'ah, Perek Aleph, Halacha Hey. Hazal say, En davar ha'omed bifnei tshuva. That means when a person do tshuva, he can change his decree. And when Yehuda admit that the belonging, the deposit that he given to Tamar, when she given it to him, that it belonged to him, and he admitted it, instead of being embarrassed and still put her to death, he admit that he was wrong. He done tshuva, Hazal say. And immediately, Hazal say everything changed in the life of Yehuda. Yehuda returned to be in charge about the brothers, the king. Okay, we'll see the meeting that he have later on with Yosef, the Torah tell us. Okay, Vayigash Yehuda. Why Dafka Yehuda was the one that approached Yosef and no one else? We'll learn, we'll see later on when we get to that parsha. But what is the message? Hazal said the message here is to teach us that when a person do tshuva, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will forgive him. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want to punish anyone, but he wants a person to do tshuva, to say sorry. When you done the tshuva, and he say, Tzadka mimeni, she's right about Tamar, that what the belonging, the goods that she given, she showed Yehuda, because she didn't want to embarrass him in public, he said that she's right. I'm the one that was wrong. Immediately, HaKadosh Baruch Hu forgive Yehuda. To teach us something very important, Hazal say. הנה גמר, אין דבר העומד בפני התשובה. That means a person, when he do tshuva, he can change the decree 180 degrees, completely. And that's the message on that verse, Chazal say. I would like to move on now to chapter 39, verse 1. And now the Torah repeating the story of Yosef, okay? And I'm going to bring a beautiful commentary that every week I'm trying to bring is the Zera Shimshon. And the Zera Shimshon bring a beautiful commentary on this verse. Let's read it and then we'll explain. Chapter 39, verse 1. Vayeshev hurad mitzrayma, vayiknu Potifar, saris paro, sarat abahim, ish mitzri, miyad haishmealim, asher uriduhu shama. Bechavod. Jeffrey, I don't know if you can hear me.
Sorry, I'm muted. I didn't want to make a noise.
No, that's fine.
And Joseph had been brought down to Egypt. Potiphar, a courtier of Pharaoh, the chamberlain of the butchers, a prominent Egyptian, purchased him from the Ishmaelites who had brought him down there.
Okay, what's happening here? First of all, we have to explain. It was in the year 2216 from the creation when Yosef HaTzadik been sold by the Ishmaelite to the Egyptian. Who bought it? Potiphar. Potiphar was Sarat Abahim. What it means, Sarat Abahim? It's not a ministry like people think of cook. No. Potiphar was the butcher, what we call him, the executor. That was Potiphar, that was his job. A person that doesn't have any mercy, doesn't have any feeling. And he bought Yosef, and Yosef HaTzadik started to run he was his butler in his house. Okay, just to understand. And we have to understand that, the matter of fact, that verse already been mentioned, if you want to check it up, in chapter 37, verse 36. Okay? So the question is, why is the Torah repeat that verse? So I'll tell you what's happening here. And the Torah tells us that there is here a great secret. Not for nothing the Torah repeat anything. If the Torah repeats something, have to be a good benefit from it to us. Okay, on the pshat of the dvarim, you can say that if you look like that Yosef came down to Egypt later on when was the famine in the land of Eretz Canaan, that Eretz Israel, the brothers can go to Egypt, and Yosef actually managed to finance them and to look after them, and him and the brothers, and later on when they came to Egypt, he makes sure that he will provide for them, for his father Yaakov Avinu, and all the Jewish, all Bnei Israel. That's on a pshat of the Dvar. Okay, but there is here something more depth. We have to understand what's happening behind it. So I'm going to bring what the Midrash said. The Midrash is Yalkut Shimoni, usually, and Yalkut Shimoni says something important. Yalkut said like this: Shemechirat Yosef by the Shvatim, that means the selling of yourself by the tribe, Avera zo shmura le'olam. That means that the tribe sold Yosef HaTzadik to a slave, that sin is forever, will stay forever for them. The Midrash continue, listen to that. Vehi tikuno shel olam, and that's the rectification for the world. Whoa, now we're stuck. We have to understand what the Midrash says. Say Rabbi Shimshon Nachmani, he's he wrote the book Zera Shimshon. He born in the city of Modena 317 years ago. That's in the north of Italy. And he said, I don't understand. If you tell me that the Avera of selling Yosef HaTzadik will stay forever, how can you tell me that that's the rectification for the world? I don't understand. Or you told me it's Avera forever, or you told me it's a rectification for the world. So, to understand that, say the Zera Shimshon, I will explain to you. Read what it says. Vayeshev hurad Mitzrayma, and Yosef brought down to Egypt. Take the word Mitzrayma. The word Mitzrayma, Gematria, 385. He said, take the Gematria of the word Shechina. What it means, Shechina? The divine presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He said, the Gematria of Shechina, 385. He said like this, when Yosef been sold, okay, by the brothers, he brought down to Egypt. The divine spirit of HaKadosh Baruch Hu left Eretz Israel and gone where? To Egypt. To be with who? With Yosef. Prove it, prove it. He said to me, oh well. Yaakov Avinu, for all of those years that Yosef HaTzadik was in Egypt, didn't have the Holy Spirit. The divine presence didn't be with Yaakov Avinu. Wasn't in Eretz Israel. Okay? Say, Rabbi Shimshon Nachmani, here's the answer. Nachon, that the tribe, what they done wrong. That's until the Mashiach comes, then it's going to be Tikkuno Shel Olam. But that they sold them, Nachon that it's Avera. But by that they sold them, they also brought a rectification for the world. What was the rectification? Said the Zera Shimshon, you have to understand what's happening, what's the secret behind it. Because the Zera Shimshon was a great Mekubal, one of the biggest Mekubalim in his time in Italy. And he said like this, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew that later on the Jewish people have to go to exile. We saw that after the building of the first Bet HaMikdash, it's been destroyed by the Babylonian, and the Bnei Israel gone to Babylon. The children of Israel gone to Babylon. Chazal say that the Shekhinah walked with them. The same thing happened with the Roman. When they destroyed the second temple, they took us to exile. And then Sanherib split all the world, you know, all the Jewish people all over the world. The same, the Shekhinah was with them. Said the Zera Shimshon, if it wasn't for the selling of Yosef HaTzadik, the presence of Hashem will never get used to go to exile. By that she have to go to exile with Yosef HaTzadik, it's already brought us a chance that when Bnei Israel are going to go to exile, the Holy Presence is going to be with us. The divine presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be with every Jew anywhere in the world until the Mashiach comes. That means that we learn from here, Nachon, what the brothers done, it's wrong, that they sold. I'm not here to judge, Chas v'Shalom, but that's what the Mefarshim said. And they've been punished. But later on came the 10 mortals with Rabbi Akiva that was the divine of Hashem, because 9 of the tribe was, and they made the Bedin, and they needed Asara, they needed a minyan, and the Holy Spirit joined them. But why is it that later on in stage, when Bnei Israel will sin, HaKadosh Baruch Hu can live Eretz Israel? Because if he couldn't, if the divine presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu cannot live Eretz Israel, Akadosh Baruch Hu Chas v'Shalom will have to destroy who? The Jewish people, and not Bet HaMikdash that made from stone and from wood. So, said the Zerah Shishon, you know what was the rectification? Number one, that the divine now can go to exile with who? With the Jewish people. They can accompany the Jewish people in exile. Number two, that the Jewish people not going to be destroyed. What got destroyed? The temple, Bet HaMikdash, that was made from stone and from wood. Listen to that chidush. And that's what it says, Vayeshev hurad Mitzrayma. Yosef brought down to where? To Egypt. Isn't that amazing? That the gematria of Mitzrayma is Shechina. Shechina 385. Mitzrayma also 385 in gematria. And what's the connection? Okay, let's move on to verse 6. And here the Torah tells us something extraordinary. Listen to that, what the Torah tells us. The Torah tells us, ויעזוב כל אשר לא ביד יוסף, ולא ידע מאומה, לא ידע איתו מאומה, כי אם הלחם אשר הוא אוכל, ויהי יוסף יפה תואר, ויפה מראה.
He left all that he had in Yosef's custody, and with him present, he concerned himself with nothing, except for the bread that he would eat. Now Yosef was handsome of form and handsome of appearance.
Okay. What is that verse come to teach us? I saw a beautiful commentary of Al-Sheikh HaKadosh. Al-Sheikh HaKadosh is Rabbi Moshe Al-Sheikh. Rabbi Moshe Al-Sheikh, born in the city of Andripoli. Andripoli is in Turkey. He born around 516 years ago. And the Al-Sheikh HaKadosh revealed to us something extraordinary. Listen what he said. Al-Sheikh HaKadosh say on that, ויעזוב כל אשר לא ביד יוסף. That means Potiphar have a full trust of who? Of Yosef. Okay? Although that Yosef have everything, what is the Torah tell us? כי אם הלחם אשר הוא אוכל. Only the bread that he have, he's eating. What does it mean? We have to understand. Say Al-Sheikh HaKadosh here, the Torah come to teach us something very important about kashrut. Yosef HaTzadik eaten only bread, the Torah witness. That means the bread that, the flour that he served, the flour that he make bread from it. That's what Yosef was eating. Yosef HaTzadik was eating only bread, doesn't eat nothing. Although that he was in charge about the house of Potiphar, he have everything. No, Yosef HaTzadik eaten only bread. The Torah come and witness and tell us something else. Yosef was handsome, nice looking, and nice appearing. Said the Al-Sheikh HaKadosh, here the Torah come to tell you that when a person eat kosher, although that Yosef HaTzadik didn't get all the nutrition that he should get, because he didn't eat none of the other food that was in the house of Potiphar, he eaten only bread made from what? Water, flour, maybe a little bit of salt. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of yeast, maybe to allow it to rise. That's all. Although so, Yosef HaTzadik was nice looking and nice appearing. To teach us something very important, say Al-Sheikh HaKadosh. He said that the person that keep kosher can never be harmed. He said, I'll give you another example. It was the three prophets, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. That they was in the house of Nebuchadnezzar. When they was in their house, the Torah tells us that they didn't eat nothing except what? Seeds. They used to eat seeds. Are those the soul? they מצאו חן. That being they find like by other people, and by Nebuchadnezzar. Say, Rabbi Moshe Al-Sheikh HaKadosh, from here you learn something extraordinary. You learn that people that eat kosher, okay, from Shamayim, no harm can happen to him. From Shamayim, they're going to guard him. The same like the God, Yosef HaTzadik. The same like the book, it's in the book of Daniel, if you remember in chapter 1, I think it's verse 12. There it says about the story of Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, also being guarded. Although that they didn't want to bow down to the statue of Nebuchadnezzar, he put them in a jail. Never mind. They eaten only zironim. Zironim, it means seed. So from here, say Al-Sheikh HaKadosh, the Torah come to teach us something important. If a person will follow the mitzvot, here specifically speaking about the mitzvah of the kashrut. Kashrut, it means the kosher of the food. How important is it when a person keep kosher, what that mitzvah can look after him? Amazing. Let's continue and move to verse 10. Yeah. Here we speak about the wife of Potiphar. ויהי כדברה אל יוסף יום יום, ולא שמע אליה, לשכב אצלה להיות עמה. בכבוד.
And so it was, just as she coaxed Joseph day after day, so he would not listen to her, to lie beside her, to be with her.
Okay, so what it means to lie beside her, next to her? That's not what part of the show, but I just want to clear it up. Many of the Mefarshim say what it means to lie with her. To lie with her, it means to be next to her. That means she asked him, Jai, lie next to me with your clothes. We're not going to have any physical relationship. So why does it say to sleep with her, liyot ima, to be with her? The Mefarshim said that, when I say the Mefarshim, that's Rashi HaKadosh, le'olam haba. That means Yosef HaTzadik was frightened that he's not going to be punished for the world to come with her in Gehenna. Okay, but that's not what I wanted to speak. Just I wanted to clear it up. The Torah tells us, Vayhi kedabera imo, kedabera el Yosef. The Torah tells us when the wife of Potiphar, her name is Zelika, or Zulika, that was her name, she tried to seduce Yosef, for 12 months. Chazal say that in one stage, Yosef HaTzadik given up. He almost gave up. He said, that's it. Yosef HaTzadik was 17 years old. It's not easy for a young man in the age of 17 to control his physical desire. And he did. But Chazal tell us in one stage he almost lost it. Chazal say, you know how he overcome that Yetzer Hara, the Midrash say? By saying, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. That's how we overcome, said the Midrash. Come Rabbi Chaim Palaji. Rabbi Chaim Palaji, born in the city of Izmir around 333 years ago, plus minus, 233 years ago. Okay, he born in the city of Izmir. Izmir is in Turkey. Okay, and he says something extraordinary. He said like this. He revealed to us a secret. He said, whenever a Jew, listen to that, Rabotai, in time of a danger, and he see danger coming, if he'll say Shema Israel, in that moment, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will save him from any danger, saved him from the evil inclination, save them from the Mezikim. The Mezikim, you know what is the Mezikim? Not only the evil inclination, you know, it's the demon. Save him from any harm. He said that the remedy of Shema Israel is to save a person from any danger. I want to tell you a personal story that happened with me. As you all know, I'm sure that all of you know, I love scuba diving. I'm a dive master. I go on one day with my diving buddy. We go into a deep dive. This deep dive, we hit, I think that it was 30-meter depths or 28-meter, I'm not sure, okay? Don't hold me into it. And it was very, very cold. And the next thing I start to feel pain. I don't know how to explain that, like someone squashing my brain with a clamp. And I start to lose it. And I didn't even have a chance to call my body because, you know, we're practicing, we're enjoying the dive, and it was dark. And all I remember, I said to myself, Shema Israel, Shema Israel, I said to myself, putting my hand on the mask. And I don't know how, suddenly I start to descend, and it got warm, and I start to feel normal. It was, I'm telling you, maybe 2 seconds or 3 seconds that I didn't have any control over my body in the diving. And for that split of a second, when I start to feel it, I knew that if I'm not going to do something drastically, I'm going to go even deeper, and I have no control over it. Something inside me says, Shema Israel, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, and the next thing I feel my body that I'm descending. And the next thing I have this pressure, this cold weather release, and I start to go back to myself. So this is a story that happened to me. I'm witnessing it. Now you all know about it. It's happened to me around 15, 12 years ago. It was a depth dive that we took, a special depth dive. We wanted to practice or something, to play. But here's it. So that's the power of Shema Israel. Okay, let's continue to verse 20. And in verse 20, we see something extraordinary. That nothing changed in the world. And the Torah tells us like this, ויקח אדוני יוסף אותו, ויתנהו אל בית הסוהר, מקום אשר שם אסירי המלך, אסורים, ויהי שם בבית הסוהר. בכבוד.
Right. Then Joseph's master took him and placed him in the prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined, and he remained there in prison.
Okay, here we see that the Torah tells us that in Egypt was 2 kinds in a jail. That means 2 wings. The wing where the criminal was, and another one was a wing where the prisoners of the king was. That means the white collar. The white collar.
Yeah.
And Yosef HaTzadik been put where? Where all the people with the white collar. Now we have to understand, wait a minute. Yosef being charged, first of all, by trying to rape the wife of the minister. He's a criminal. Why you put him where is the people with a white collar? Why there? That's the question of the Mefarshim. The Mefarshim answer something extraordinary. Yosef, when they wanted to put him the punishment, if he will find guilty, and we'll read about it in Parashat Vayeshev when we get to it, that Yosef actually paid the reward to the priest of Midian, the priest of Egypt, that they saved his life, because the punishment was death for Yosef. And they proved that he didn't try to rape the wife of Potiphar. But the embarrassment that happened, Potiphar have to put him behind bar. Where did they put him? In a prison where the prisoner of the king are, the white collar. Why dafka there? Because the Egyptian was afraid, the minister, that if Yosef going to be put in a jail where all the criminal, he will reveal to him what's happened with Potiphar's wife. That will embarrass the minister, that the minister have such a wife. Instead, where they put him, where all the white collar, where they all know what's happening in the house of the king, you know? Everyone know the dirty that's happened. That's the reason that the Torah come and tell us, said the Mefarshim, why Yosef been put in a white collar wing and not in a criminal wing. When I say white collar, he's the prisoner of the king. To teach us something very important. En hadash tahat hashemesh. That's Shlomo HaMelech, Echad Mikol Adam. There's nothing new under the sun. What was then, it's still today. Nothing changed. Let's move on to chapter 40. Jumping now in verse 19. And here we see something extraordinary, that how Yosef HaTzadik interpreted the dream to the minister of baking. And Yosef HaTzadik said to him like this, בעוד 3 ימים יישא פרעה את ראשך, וישבך על כנך, ונתת כוס פרעה בידו, כמשפט הראשון, היית משקהו. Okay.
I think you said it was verse 19.
Yes, verse, sorry, I read verse 13. Sorry.
13.
בעוד 3 ימים, 19.
No problem.
19.
I thought it was 19.
It was my mistake. בעוד 3 ימים, יישא פרעה את ראשך מעליך ותלה אותך על עץ, ואכל העוף את בשרך מעליך. בכבוד.
Okay.
My mistake, 19.
No problem.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
In 3 days, Paro will lift your head from you and hang you on a tree. Birds will eat your flesh from you.
First of all, we have to understand very, very, very harsh interpretation Yosef given to the minister of baking. That means that in 3 days, he's going to be hanged by Pharaoh. And why? First of all, we have to understand, why did Pharaoh hang the minister of baking? The Chazal explained, the Mekubalim, it's brought by many of the Mefarshim, also the Mekubalim, that the minister of baking, the daughter of Pharaoh, have a forbidden relationship with him. And he didn't want it to be exposed, therefore he hanged them. The daughter of Pharaoh committed immorality. It was embarrassment to her father as a king. By who? By one of her ministers. Now, it's not nice, you know what I'm saying? It can't be, you know, you have to keep the royalty and etc. That's why he hanged them. So we understand why he hanged Dafka him. What's happened? That the interpretation was so harsh. That's the answer. Now let's ask a different question. How did Yosef HaTzadik knew how to interpret the dream to the minister of drink and to the minister of who?
Baker.
Of baking. Why? Why did he have to tell him that he's going to die? How did he knew? That's the Shaila of the Mefarshim. Said the Mefarshim that if you look carefully, what is the minister, the baker, what did he say? He said that he see that there is a basket, and inside the basket, on top of the human being, there is bread, and the bird coming and eating from it. That was the dream. How did Yosef HaTzadik knew that the minister of baking going to die? Said the Mefarshim, very simple. A bird, in the nature, they're afraid of human being. And if now the bird's coming and see the basket on top of the human being and eating from it, that means that she doesn't afraid. Why she doesn't afraid? Because that human being is not alive. That's how Yosef knew that the punishment will be dead for the minister of baking. And Be'ezrat Hashem, the Kadosh Baruch Hu will punish all of those that want to harm the Jewish people. Kadosh Baruch Hu will take revenge the same like he done to the minister of baking, to all the enemy of the Jewish people, and send us Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our day. Amen. If you have any question, Bechavod, I would like to hear your question, and I will try to answer you. Bechavod. Any question, Bechavod? Please unmute yourself and you can ask. No problem.
Well, just on the last point that we just spoke about, there's the minister of the baker, the baking department.
Yes.
Here so this is a proof that he was put in with the prisoners of the king. Because there's no, these two, the two would never have been with it. They weren't criminals as such. So they were put, they're not to embarrass the king. So they were the king's prisoners.
Absolutely. So absolutely. What's happened there, Jeffrey, let me just explain to you. The daughter of Paro, nice to say, easy to say, she was easy go. With the minister of drink, not that she didn't, she had a relationship, but it was hush-hush. While the minister of baking, when he done it, he was very proud about it. Yeah, look, I took the daughter of Pharaoh. You understand? So Pharaoh, when he found out, he realized it's going to be embarrassment that his daughter like this. And here comes the minister of baking and making a tzimas from it. He said, I need to put an end to it. You understand? While the minister of drink kept it all hush-hush. So no one knew about it, except Pharaoh and the daughter and him. But when it's come to the minister of baking, first of all, he was a lot to do with that. He seduced her. Hazal explained there that he tried, and he was very arrogant about it. That's why his punishment was, because he make a big noise, you know. And Pharaoh was worried. Listen, he's going to embarrass me. You understand?
Yeah. No, good. Thank you.
Good. Any other question, Rabotai? Any question regarding the Parsha? Maybe I can answer, I try, I don't know. No, okay, I see that no one want to unmute and no one want to ask question. I would like to take the opportunity to wish all of you Shabbat Shalom. Once again, to wish a great, big Mazel Tov to our friend Jeffrey for the Brit Milah of the grandson, and to bless you that may please God the same, כשם שנכנס לברית, כך ייכנס לחופה, לתורה ולמעשים טובים, and will be a great source of nachas to you, to your wife, to his grandparents, to his parents, וכל כלל עמו בית ישראל. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, thank you for joining us. I would like to take the opportunity to wish all of you Shabbat Shalom, those of you that are going on holiday. I hope that you're still going to join us. Have a safe journey to wherever you go. Look after yourself. In the meantime, Shabbat Shalom, and Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll see you again on Sunday night after lighting the menorah lighting. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Shabbat